right from the get-go.
Yeah, no real surprises getting rid of Joe's Renekton. There is the Senna ban as well, so Kazi will not get his hands on that. Kazi has been quite aggressive alongside Kai'Sa in the bottom lane, so I'm not sure Senna would be where he, what his wheelhouse is right now, but of course, is still a very good AD carry. There's the Kai'Sa taken away from Gala. There's the Varus removed by RNG, so we are pinching that AD carry pool just a little bit.
This was one of the things that I was hoping to see. I believe that Gala does have, or he's played a very few select champions a lot, and I wanted to see what happened when that pool was pinched. Obviously, we saw him have a great Kog'Maw performance earlier on in the day. The question is, can he have that same level of performance against Kazi? We're going to have to wait and find out, because the AD carry pool is opened up a little bit more. Tristana is still up and available. With the Udyr ban, we're looking at a Morgana and Rumble. You would imagine that one is going to be, or sorry, both are going to be left open, and RNG is instead going to look at something like a support ban. We saw Nautilus earlier on in the day, could be a potential ban. Something like a Lucian or a Trist, I think, could also be taken off the board, but they're actually going to ban away the Rumble. So they're saying, you can pick Morgana, we have something that can be played into it. The question is, will Mad take the gamble?
I mean, Morgana's just so strong right now.
I think so. Lee Sin is also up, remember?
Lee Sin is also up. We'll see if Armut wants to get his hands on the Ninja in the top lane.
So what they are saying is, okay, so we will ban away the Rumble. You can either take Morgana or Lee.
Yeah.
What you can't have is Lee plus an AP jungler.
Yeah.
So I understand the logic there. You would imagine now that either Xiaohu or Cryan would take the Lee Sin so they can flex it between top and mid lane, and then they'll have to have something else prepared for the jungle.
Thresh also still available. We've seen it banned out a lot throughout the course of MSI. Ming has yet to actually get his hands on it himself. So Thresh, I wonder if we'll see something like the Kalista or the Xayah come out here for Gala.
Jinx, potentially.
Jinx is also a option. Aphelios, yeah.
A bunch of AD carries become unlocked when paired with the Thresh, because he does have the Lantern to provide that safety. And for now, they're just going to lock in their jungler. So it will be the Olaf. Usually the Olaf is like the next tier of junglers that we've seen so far be as an answer to the Udyr, the Rumble, and of course the Morgana. So also very common over in the LPL. They do love their Olaf over there, and Wei definitely not that different in that regard. So they currently have a pretty strong foundation. Which direction will Mad? Oh, so they're actually going to go for the... Perhaps Tahm Kench, yes. Okay, so they're saying, you know what? If you're going to go for that very single target CC, we're going to go for something which has a lot of protection, good scaling, and when you have Tahm Kench plus Black Shield, a lot of utility then offered to the Jinx and late game protection to help manage the Olaf that's going to be trying to dive on your face.
And there's the Aphelios immediately out from Gala. Jinx is not something Kazi's played at all so far at MSI, but of course, he did pick it up a couple of times during the LEC.
His series versus G2, he really popped off on the champion. Definitely something that was kind of banned a lot as a result of his performance during the playoffs, so he's definitely on comfort. As we move into the second phase, though, it looks like that Lucian will be taken off the board. So that AD mid laner that Humanoid very comfortable on. I was worried that with the Lucian being open, Xiaohu would try and grab that early, but RNG actually want to save top side pick, probably because they know that Armut is a little bit more of a carry player. He does like to play those top lane champions, things like Aatrox, Wukong, Lee Sin. You know, he's not really a Sion player. Can, of course, play Gnar. He did play a fair amount of Gnar during the playoffs. But to me, that does suggest that RNG is saying, you know what, we want to try and either get that counter pick for top, or maybe even for Cryan. They have been giving those counter picks to the mid lane as well, but it looks like more of a mid lane mage matchup from what I'm seeing so far.
And one of those is going to get removed as Victor is banned away. As you said, the Gnar and the Wukong still available for the top laners here. In the mid lane, you know, Humanoid likes his Orianas. He has played a bit of the Victor as well. Azir, Twisted Fate actually fallen well out of the meta coming into MSI here, but we saw that quite a lot in the LEC playoffs as one of the priority picks, and Mad Lions taking their time over their final ban.
Looks like it will be the Lee Sin, so that top lane carry flex potential will be removed. And the fact that the Jace is gone does suggest to me that Mad is looking at a Gnar top lane pick. It was something that they did play when well, when they played against G2, because what they did was they stopped playing around Armor and they actually just focused more on playing through the bot side of the map. When Kazi's on Jinx, they really want to funnel as much gold and resources onto him as possible, and so RNG is going to take that one away.
Yep.
With the Jace banned away, with the Lee Sin banned away, Nocturne is the only other pick that's often used as an answer to it. We know that Armit can also play that champion if he wants to. I'm not sure that it makes a huge amount of sense into the comp that he's playing against and what he's currently got, so I'm not sure that it's going to be his go-to pick, but it is certainly an option for him.
Looks like they're going to take a little bit more time to think about what they want in the top lane. Orianna for Humanoid in the mid. I'd like to see a little bit more engage from the Mad Lions lineup, something to get that ball onto the back line, get that delivery system working as Kai'Sa hovers the Yuumi and the Zilean.
They might do the Wukong, you know.
Yeah.
You talk about engage. I also think that against a champion like a Felios, the amount of crowd control that it can provide and chaos, I think can be very good. And it's also one of his comfort picks.
There we go.
Looks like it is going to be his Wukong. It's not the best matchup for him, but I think that what it offers in fights later on is extremely valuable.
There's the Twisted Fate.
With the Twisted Fate. More single target CC, I think, could be problematic. Again, playing against Tahm Kench and Morgana, but it does give you the power to be reactive to what is happening on the map thanks to your Twisted Fate ultimate. You can also be proactive. You can work with Olaf. Twisted Fate Olaf, very powerful mid-jungle duo because of the CC that you can set up and the follow-up that then comes through the Olaf. You can invest resources into the bot side of the map, or you can perhaps play through Xiaohu to try and put Armut behind if you want to. RNG have a couple of options, and as we've seen from them, while they often do play through top side, that doesn't suddenly mean that bot lane can't be played through as well. It depends on the situation, and they do have a pretty powerful 2 versus 2 down there as well. I would like to see the cleanse on the Tahm Kench this time around. I think that against the Thresh Hook and the Twisted Fate stun, those are the pieces of CC that you want to try to avoid. But overall, I think that Mad have a slightly stronger teamfight composition later on into the game with the Wukong, the Orianna, the Jinx, just a lot of AoE, a lot of crowd control, a lot of range in their advantage as well with things like the Jinx. Whereas for RNG, I think that they have very powerful skirmishing. When champions are trying to dive onto them, things like the Aphelios can just rip apart and do so much damage. And I think that their early game agency is so effective because they have this Olaf and Twisted Fate combo. So we'll see what they do with it, because this team, Wei in particular, is very good at finding these early leads and being very proactive on the map.
When RNG succeed, it's on the back of their 18-year-old jungler Wei. So strong in the early game, so good at finding skirmishes in the typical LPL style. He will take any fight he can get his hands on. We've already seen him flashing over walls to get behind oppositions for tower dives. And we'll see if he is going to look to shut down Armut in the top lane. Early on, though, line of scrimmage drawn by both these teams. Not really expecting anything spicy at level 1, as both of them are looking to continue their undefeated streaks here at MSI.
Hail Blades or not?
See that
I feel like that's not super common.
Yeah.
It makes sense, of course, with the hyper proc, the 3-hit passive. Once you get that initial auto, you can. I imagine that it's just for better trading against a champion like Wukong.
Looking through Xiaohu's match history, he doesn't tend to run it either. It's usually Grasp.
Grasp is the typical
or
go-to.
sometimes he's run Fleet as well.
Yes.
On the Gnar.
Difficult matchup. Sometimes you'd want to run that extra bit of sustain, so that does make sense. But I think that for the Hail of Blades, it is purely to be a little bit more aggressive, and I would imagine that Wukong as a champion, it gains value when it skirmishes with you, because that passive armor build up. So I think that the idea is to quickly proc the hyper passive, and then disengage, run away, and then yeah, and you kind of go for these short burst trades, which I think for lane is very good. I think later on into the game, I debate how much value it's going to offer, but we'll have to wait and see. I would trust Xiaohu's opinion a little bit more than my own.
We also see Wei starting on the bottom side of the map, so maybe he will be pathing up towards Xiaohu's lane, trying to get that Gnar ahead early on. Elioya's can do the blue and the Gromp at the same time here. Both junglers starting without a leash, Fedius.
And you talked about it. I want to talk a little bit more about Wei, because I do think that as a player, he does such a great job of playing around his lanes. He focuses a lot more for his team rather than for himself. And we saw on his Udi yesterday that he will skip camps in order to gank for Xiaohu when the wave state is appropriate. And I think that one of the best things about him is how active they seem to be in their communication, where they're saying well in advance, this is exactly what we want to do, how we want to do it, and they execute upon it well. So keep your eyes on Wei in in the early game because he's a very important factor when it comes to getting RNG ahead.
Yeah, leading the jungle in KDA, damage a minute, kills and assists at 15, and gold at 15. He is a very strong player all round. Humanoid early on will have the push in the mid lane. We see him placing a ward down towards that bot side Scuttle Crab as Yoya is on his Razor Beaks. I do not know if he's doing the Razor and Red at the same time as you can on the Morgana. Looks like he's going to start it up now as actually decides against doing them both at the same time and isn't even going to kite the Krugs across here. So Yoya doing a slightly slower Morgana path than you can.
Slightly slower, but fine for now, I would say. It's interesting that there's a lot of mid priority, and it looks like bot is slowly starting to get that push as well. Kaiser and Kazi, they often want to fight if they can, and Ming body blocking that damage to try and keep the Aphelios alive. Not too surprising, Aphelios in the early stages can struggle a little bit in the 2 versus 2, but once they get a few more levels under their belt, there are windows where they can look to trade. You always have to be careful though, because if your hook does land on the Jinx, the consume can come through, and overall it can be a little bit harder. So for now, they're going to be pretty happy farming and chilling as we see Wei hovering around the top side going for the crab, and that ward from Armut is going to spot that one out. Meanwhile, Yoya is going to be doing the same on the bot side. So standard clears, nothing too crazy. Kazi and Kaiser also going to go for a reset. For now, no one is dead.
No one is dead apart from the minions. You must remember them, Vedi. It's very important.
True.
Lives lost on Summoner's Rift is... We do see Gala and Ming using the time that Kazi and Kaiser had, resetting down towards the bottom lane to push this wave in. That means there'll be about a single wave advantage as they come back. Humanoid continually just trading onto Cryin as Zhao Hu pushes in top lane.
Now, Kazi and Kaiser did get to base first, which means that Kaiser gets to be back out on the map earlier. The pings are actually going to spot him out. Love this ward investment from Wei. And the question is, does Kaiser know? Is this sweeper going to spot out this ward? It's not. So really good placement from Wei. They're going to get information on what Kaiser was up to, and they're not going to get punished for it. Of course, Ming going to match that roam and is now hovering around the mid lane as well. Going to give this stack over to Humanoids. And again, nothing too crazy happening in this early game. Junglers return to the jungle to continue with their clears.
Yeah, it seems like both teams have just accepted that it's going to be a laning phase for a little while. No real action needing to happen in the top lane. Zhao Hu, with the range advantage, has developed a CS lead, about 10 to 11 farm ahead on average, as Armut struggling a little bit into this Hail of Blades Gnar.
Yeah, kind of as expected. Cryin trying to interrupt the base from Humanoid there. Cryin taking a lot of damage, though. I wonder if this is a kill threat opportunity. At the very least, maybe they can consider getting a flash out from him. Humanoid, he did put the ward down to ward top side because that's where he expected the jungler to be, given that he started with this path clear bot to top. But Wei actually going to get a little creative, going to move towards the bot side river, knows that he has a control ward there. And with the push that they have, he may even try to just do a very early Drake.
TP coming out from Armut as well to go back towards the top lane. So Wei should be able to secure this dragon by himself. Yoya is going to come across, but he's looking more for the bot lane play than anything else. Yoya puts the ward down. Humanoid has teleport. Wei is going to stop the dragon for now. RNG have the push in the bottom lane, so they can bring their bot lane up here first. Looks like Mad Lions are just giving up this Drake.
For now, they don't want to run the risk. They know that they have stronger team fighting tools, but they don't need to take any unnecessary gambles, especially against an Olaf in the early game. Cryin also hitting level 6 makes going for those early fights all the more risky. So I respect the restraints coming out from Mad Lions. A little uncommon from the Mad Lions bot lane.
Know them for.
The bot lane in particular do love to fight whenever they find an opportunity. So really good patience coming out from Mad Lions. And again, seeing a very slow, stable, and pretty even early game. Not what I expected coming into this game. I expected a lot more chaos, a lot more skirmishing, a lot more ganking, a lot more fighting. But it seems that Mad's approach is, hey, we want to rely on our team fighting later on into the game. It served them very well in the playoffs of the LEC. And we'll see if RNG can actually find themselves any early game leads, because Cryin is level 6, does have the Ignite thanks to the spellbook. If he was to go anywhere, I imagine bot lane would be the play, especially with the controls that they have. Ult comes out top.
Cyclone for the Gnar ultimate there. Armut using the clone very well. Cyclone comes out once again, and Zhao Hu is chunked down. Ult for ult trade, as you say, Vedi. And Yoya was on the top side of the map. Hook goes a little bit wide there as Kazi stepping forward into Gala, but Severum and Crescendum are not the guns you really want to fight in a skirmish. The healing and the extra damage you get out of those chakrams is pretty deadly for the Aphelios. And I will say, although RNG are an LPL team, they're not an incredibly fast team compared to some of the other teams in the LPO. They are known much more for this slower style, not looking for too many fights in the early game, and instead being able to win out team fights as we've seen them do across the last day or so.
Thing is, when you do have this Twisted Fate, you want to try and be a little bit more proactive on the map. Notice how Humanoid hovering on the bot side doesn't have cleanse.
Ghost comes out from Wave, flash away. Alyoya coming in from the side as well. The binding's going to be used, but the shockwave will not do enough damage, and now Alyoya has to flash away himself. Kaiser and Kazi on their way up, but no level 6 means Kaiser can't get his teammates out. Kazi gobbled up by Kaiser. He's going to try and get this Jinx close enough to the wall to flash away. The play almost caught him out, but Mad able to escape, as Kazi and Kaiser just about survive.
So RNG, they draw first blood and they do it in the mid lane. Humanoid, he was hugging the bot side of the lane, believing that Alyoya could come to his safety in the event of a gank, but he wasn't close enough. The Black Shield did not come through. You can see that I believe Alyoya was actually clearing out a control ward, and then the axes start to come out. They tried to land the damage while Cryan is CC'd up. That does not apply to the Olaf, and you can see this early game damage that he's able to throw out. Kazi and Kaiser then come up through the river, but they end up being the ones collapsed on, and fortunately for Kaiser, he does have the consume, but it does mean that both bot laners are forced to flash out. So advantage is gained across the board for RNG.
No flashes left on any Mad players. RNG with 1,000 gold lead at the 8-minute mark. Couple of plates in the top lane, a CS lead for Xiao, who hasn't been involved in any of these plays, and then 10 CS lead for Gala in the bottom lane, about 100 gold ahead. Mid lane, Humanoid is slightly ahead in terms of farm, but that gold are relatively even. RNG off to a very good start here, Vedius.
So Humanoid really just bullying, crying in the mid lane, whereas Xiaohu doing the same thing in the top. But RNG, thanks to those early kills, sitting with that early gold advantage. And they need to find this early lead. I think it's really important when you have the Twisted Fate, trying to unlock that mid tower as well. You can play towards the early heralds to funnel more gold. They could take that top tower, make life a little bit harder for Armut. Props to RNG, doing exactly what they need to do, whereas Mad trying to stem the bleed. They don't have summoner spells in this bot lane 2 versus 2, and their wave is pushing against them. And it looks like Gala wants to try and push this one out a bit. Here comes a Flay.
Coming in with the Flay, Kazi caught out down to 300 HP, hook on Kaiser, but the cleanse is just about enough. Gala could look for this, has the Moonlight Vigil, but won't go any further, except that they forced the enemy AD carry out of lane, and they can push this in and get a plate.
Smart play there from the RNG duo. They know that they have a summoner spell advantage, especially with the heal on Gala, and they're going to get themselves a plate off the back of this. Immediate respect from Kazi and Kaiser. They have to disengage because of things like the Twisted Fate ultimate is up and available, so they could get collapsed on bot. But Wei is just using this as an opportunity to get himself the early herald. They can use this bot lane, they can use this top lane, and they can look to start the snowball, funneling more gold into the side lanes and break whatever tower they want. RNG strong control in this early game, and it all comes back off to that initial gank onto Humanoid. They were really able to gain a lot off the back of that.
Gala now 20 CS up in that bottom lane, and that bot lane matchup was one that we did want to highlight coming into this game. Kazi and Gala having great performances so far. Super Mega Death Rocket is going to stop the back, but nothing too much more happening. You can see both of them topping the charts in KDA, damage a minute, CS differential, gold differential. Well, right now, it's the RNG bottom laner that is coming out ahead after replacing Uzi. A lot of questions were asked about him, but he is silencing doubters one step at a time.
Certainly is. That next generation of superstars, very similar for both teams, you know, a combination of veterans and young players. And I've been so excited to watch the two play, you know, what is the gap between them? Is there one? Well, we're about to find out as the Twisted Fate ultimate comes through.
Destiny down towards the bottom side, Flame Chompers coming out as well. The Devour used on Kazi, and the hook goes wide. Shockwave popped just to disengage. Armut keeps Xiaohu around in the top lane. Flash away from the Gnar here. Armut continuing to trade in, only has a Sheen right now. It forces Xiaohu back underneath his tower.
Really good damage. Flash is traded across the boards, and Armut's going to force Xiaohu out. Xiaohu should know, though, that he's unlikely to get ganked, as there were 4 people down towards the bot side of the map. Mad will get themselves the second Drake of the game. The fact they were able to disengage from that, also quite surprising, given the control that RNG had. I think the Cryan ultimate was not the best, but at the same time, if he tries to flank, I think that he then gets flanked by things like the Morgana binding, and he could have ended up losing his life. So I understand why he went where he did, as we see another gank in mid.
Humanoid has to flash away. Wei just getting in these ganks at the perfect timing. Xiaohu is on the wrong side of the map right now. Armut spell immune. There's the Soul Shackles. Xiaohu, oh, that was so well played. Gnar into the leap to get that Soul Shackle broken.
He saw that the spell shield was used onto Armut. That only protects him from the slow, from the Q of Xiaohu, which means that he can then use his ultimate to disengage. So extremely well played there from Xiaohu to get out of that gank. And now RNG immediately can apply pressure towards the bot side of the map. Remember that they have the Herald with only 3 plates left. All of this gold can be funneled into Gala. Of course, Wei will have to take some. But beautiful stuff from RNG. Actually, surely they're going to use it. No, I'm sure they will. There's no reason not to take the tower here, I feel. Especially with the Herald, I feel it's still got a little bit of time left on it. Yeah, there we go. So that's going to be dropped. Morgana going to be pathing towards bot because he does need to clear that part of the jungle. Ultimate comes through, good damage, forcing Kazi further back.
And that's the issue when you play into a Fed Aphelios. You can see Gala picks up, I think, 530 gold there from that tower. He's already got the Noon Quiver. We'll be up at that mythic item in just a moment's time. Go back to base, give Boris some money, and you can grab yourself a mythic. 1,000 gold ahead now. Aphelios to this Jinx. Gala really popping off in this early game, and it's a 2,500 gold lead for RNG across the board, Vedius.
Kind of what we expected with the composition that they ran. They have been quite proactive. They have been going for these plays. Have they ballooned the kills out of control? No. But I think that they've done a really good job of finding these advantages, playing for plates. They are a very objective-focused team, and I think that they've controlled the objectives well. Letting loose that second Drake, probably not what they wanted, but still in a very comfortable position as Gala continues to get strong. And we're mounting up towards those first items. I think that Mad, for now, want to just keep the game state as is. Want to avoid fights for a little while longer, perhaps to wait for those second items. They may even concede the third Drake in exchange for just waiting a little bit more, then fight for the fourth, because they've bought that time. They don't have to worry too much about that. Perhaps they could even trade it for the second Rift Herald spawning, and then use that as a means to try and break down either the mid tier 1 or perhaps one of these side lanes. In any case, Mad continuing to play patiently, don't want to overstep their bounds, and RNG are the ones currently putting their foot on the accelerator and controlling the pace of the game.
And this is the thing that taking a tower does for you. You can move your bot lane up towards mid, you can catch that, then Crying can pressure with Destiny up towards the top side. That makes Armut play safer. You can look to push in for blue buffs. You can look to push in for fights. Wei, I believe, was spotted out there. I think he may have just stepped outside of the bush. Lots of back pings coming out. Xiao, who's going to build up the Mega Gnar. Kaiser coming in from the side as well. Wei should just be able to walk underneath the tower, pops the Ragnarok, and will be able to escape. But while all of this was happening, Gala, Ming, and Crying are just pushing in the midway.
A lot of members of Mad were drawn up towards the top side, and RNG do a good job of creating pressure elsewhere. It was an exchange of ults. Wei doesn't even have to use it. Well, he didn't have his Ghost, so it didn't, of course, cost him. And Xiaohu continuing to chip away at that tower. Elyoya just coming here to cover so they don't lose even more. But RNG, relentless with the pressure. They keep attacking these towers. They want to try and keep this gold lead mounting. The next Drake is going to be spawning in a minute's time. And if Xiaohu can get this tower, then resets, then walk towards the objective, they're in a really good position to contest that next Drake.
Andre and the Verizon 5G All Chat, that's a difficult name to pronounce. Andre, how exciting to see the finalists to play their first game already. Perhaps a little bit over-eager, I say, as an LEC commentator. Give Mad a chance to really step up to the stage, but definitely RNG, seen in many people's eyes as the forthright finalists. Of course, Mad Lions possibly could be there, still currently undefeated. They are falling behind in this game, about 3,000 gold their deficit right now.
We did talk about this in draft. It kind of goes within expectations, I feel. But you're rightly, they are 3k gold behind, and it gets to a certain point where that gold gap can be somewhat insurmountable, even if you believe you have the stronger 5 versus 5. It might not matter if they can just beat you with their wallets. And I think that right now RNG is setting themselves up for success. Immediately on the Drake as it spawns, we can see that Mad making the decision to just make the cross-map play, trade it for the Rift Herald, and I think this is smart. Again, trying to avoid any big fights that could potentially catapult the Olaf extremely far ahead. Could give RNG the gold lead that could... Oh, hang on, but Xiaohu is actually looking for something here.
Well, you've got the Destiny available from Crying. He's down in the bottom side. Xiaohu bound. Goes into Mega form. Elyoya with the Soul Shackles. Here comes the Destiny, and Kazi has been flanked, and the rest of RNG are looking for the chase here. Kazi and Kaiser have to flash away. Xiaohu was able to distract the Mad Lions, and here come RNG. Kaiser will fall. Elyoya has to flash the wall, but the Moonlight Vigil will chase him down, and Crying is not going to let him escape. Still on the chase. The binding goes wide off towards the top side. Armut's killed off Ming. He's going to go back in. Gala trying to do what he can. Needs to get to the 7, needs to get that healing, but he can't survive. Armut gets a double. Elyoya falls down towards the bottom, and there is a pause.
What just happened? I thought that team fight was just lost for Mad. I thought the RNG's positioning was so much better. You highlighted it very early on in the fight. Kazi and Kaiser got collapsed on from the mid lane. They got shut down very quickly, and it looked like it was disaster for Mad Lions. RNG had found the fight that they had been looking for, and it ends up getting turned around because Armut on this Wukong was just doing so much damage. His ultimate was up and available. He was able to dive onto Gala. He was able to get that kill. And yeah, because I was paying a lot more attention to the bottom side of the fight, I assumed that the top side was just going to be a matter of cleanup. Yep. But wow, okay, crazy. When we get the replay of that, I imagine we're going to get the replay soon. We can look back and break down exactly what happened in that exchange. We might not get the replay.
Yeah, I did wonder with there being a pause right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I was hoping, I'm hoping, but you know, we'll stay optimistic. We'll see what happens. But wow, what a crazy fight, because remember the Mad were kind of avoiding these skirmishes for a little while, and what that looked like that it was just going to be a standard trade, you know, Rift Herald in exchange for Dragon.
Yep.
Especially when Wei is on the bot side of the map and all the Mad Lions members are on the top side. There's no reason for RNG to really force fight there, but Xiaohu says, I think I can force fight it, you know, or at the very least I can be a bit of a pest, because the bot lane of Gala and Ming had rotated around and were in a position to try and challenge in some way, shape, or form. But even then, they're still at a numbers disadvantage. So what ends up happening is Xiaohu misses everything. He gets binded, but then he flashes out. And then you've got a bunch of Mad members chasing after him, which then ends up leaving Kazi and Kaiser, who's trying to follow up through the river, to get collapsed on by Wei, who's run up from the Drake, and Gala and Ming that are already in mid lane that can also collapse.
Destiny and Destiny.
Exactly that. Well. The Twisted Fate ultimate too, of course, right. Oh, so here we are. We're going to get that replay. So here we are. This is the collapse that we were talking about on the bot side of the map. The 4 versus 2. Both of them tried to flash out to safety, but the chase down coming out from the Olaf and the Aphelios is just too strong. And at this point, you think, okay, well, the team fight is over. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Humanoid and Armut chase down Xiaohu, and Humanoid is just using his range to keep RNG at bay. And what then happens next is Ming is very low HP, so Armut is saying, that's a free kill. Yeah. So he dives in onto that, and then Gala's like, it's fine. I'm Aphelios. I have an item. If this guy comes into me...
I think we're going to drop in quite hot into this fight, by the way, so I'm...
Okay. Let's get ready for it, medic.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Okay, so wait, Armut's jumped onto Wei. Cryin trying to join the fray, but he hasn't got much mana. Triple kill for Armut. Cryin, does he have the mana to do anything here? Humanoid, no shockwave. Armut, no flash. Cryin dodging around as much as he can. Armut goes in, uses the clone. Cryin pops the stopwatch, gets a little bit more mana. The TPs are coming in. RNG over-investing into this play. Xiaohu will not be able to chase. And Betty, the scoreline now reads 5-4.
So... I believe that was an ace for the Mad Lions.
Yeah, just super delayed.
And a quadra kill for Armut. The fact that they were able to turn that around is kind of crazy, because the fight, as we mentioned, looked lost. And I'm not sure if we're going to get the full replay, but let's kind of take stock of, we are going to get a round out of what happens in this replay. So Wei, at the very end, ends up being caught out. He thinks that with Cryin, they actually have the ability to win out on the 2 versus 2, but Armut, he just has so much durability. The red buff also helping him heal up. You have the shielding from Humanoid, who's just stacked on mana, and the mid-top duo is just able to turn it around. So, wow, crazy stuff. Now, Medic, let's just kind of like recap for us like the current state of the map.
All right, so we're 18 minutes in. RNG have had the gold lead for the entire game. They are still 2,000 gold ahead. They have 2 dragons to their name. Ocean Drake will be up in 3 minutes' time. On the side of RNG, Gala is fed. He's had a ton of plates put into him. He is at 1.5 items. Wei is pretty big, as well as is Cryin. For Mad, Armut is giga fed. Everyone else is a little bit weaker, although I will give credit to Humanoid, 1, 1, and 4 with a 20 CS lead in the mid lane. Let's look at where we are in terms of gold. You can see Gala 1,600 gold ahead of Kazi right now.
And that's basically where the gold difference exists. Yes, there's a bit of a jungle diff too. Wei has been, well, but that's because Wei has been getting these kills, but the reality is that what top lane has done is equalized the difference, because the early laning phase obviously did not go great for Armut, and Cryin, the TF passive, was able to make up for that. Now we see Cryin TP attacking Armut.
Armut has no flash here, could look to use the clone. The rest of RNG are on their way. Everfrost with Root Armored in place is going to try and turn it back onto Xiaohu, but there's really not too much that Monkey can do in this situation. Wukong will fall, shut down, goes over to Xiaohu.
And that was just a big overstep from Armut. He had a great performance in that last team fight, but now he ends up getting punished for it. Great use of the teleport from Cryin. Xiaohu's already in lane. The rotation from Gala and Ming as well. And these are the type of picks that RNG is going to keep looking to leverage as they break down the third outer tower.
RNG will get that mid-tier 1. Humanoid is pushing down the bot side, but he's not even going to be able to get the tower there. That sequence of plays, it was a TP from RNG for a shutdown on Xiaohu and a mid lane tower, whereas Mad Lions got a few CS here or there, and that gold lead once again balloons up to 3,500.
Yeah, it was a close team fight, but at the end of the day, RNG have only extended their gold lead. They've gained so much more map control. They're continuing to steal away enemy jungle camps. They're pushing in these waves, and they're setting up for the next Drake. RNG demonstrating why they are considered one of the favorites for the whole thing, and why they are looking so good. Great early game performance from them, and Mad's still waiting for those items, waiting for that team fight that can swing the game heavily in their favor.
And we're very much getting to that point that you mentioned earlier, Vedius. The Mad Lions have a good team fight composition, but if you are half an item to an item behind when it gets to those team fights, you are likely just to lose out on those fights. You can see Gala already has Runans and the Kraken Slayer complete. There's a rapid fire cannon and an Everfrost on Cryin. They are so strong right now.
There is a caveat to that.
Oh, it hit me.
Gala currently doesn't have flash, and if Armut just one-shots him, he doesn't get to use his gold.
I mean, that is true. The best CC is death, as they say.
That's the caveat, right? Yeah, Kazi is very much behind Gala, and if they can just get to play the standard team fight, then that's true. But what Armut is going to be looking for is a flank. That's what he always does when he's playing the Wukong, and he's going to try and create these pockets of vision where he can come in from behind. But that is, I believe, a Baron that is being started off by RNG, and with the Aphelios, they are just going to melt through it, so RNG could very well force the fight that they want right now.
This ward just outside of the pit will spot RNG doing it. Armut is working his way up through the river, hasn't teleported yet, but does have the TP. 3,000 HP on the Baron. There's the TP. It's too little too late. You got to feel that Baron is gone. RNG secure it. Moonlight Vigil coming in. The Shockwave only hits onto a Ragnarok target, and they're trying to dive onto Gala, but Armut is already dead. The best form of CC is death. RNG read the manual as well. The hook goes a little bit wide for Ming as Mad Lions try and turn this fight back around. Xiao, who's been forced off towards the top side. Wei is down as well, but RNG will get the Baron and a 1-for-1 trade.
Wow, I'm surprised with how slowly Mad reacted to that. They had Armut's TP, Elyoya had flash, and they still don't commit to it. They have their eyes on the Drake now. They're going to try and get something back at the very least, but RNG with an extremely confident Baron take. They were like, listen, we know how far ahead we are. We know how quickly we take this Baron. You either fight us or we get this objective for free. And they're going to walk away with the Baron. Beautiful execution from the side of RNG.
Elyoya has to flash out of the back of the pit because RNG were on their way to take names. Humanoid going in here. Armut's going to jump forward as well. Does have the flash, but doesn't have the Cyclone, so doesn't really have a way of locking Xiaohu up, and Xiaohu can just jump away as the Gnar. A 50 CS lead for Xiaohu in that top lane, and we'll have another look at this Baron play.
So Elyoya chooses not to flash in. He may very well just lose his life if he takes the gamble, but then Armut commits to the fight anyway. They look for that wombo combo of the Orianna ultimate into the Wukong ultimate, into Kazi's ultimate, but they've already disengaged. It only lands onto the Olaf that resists the crowd control, and then the rest of RNG disengaged. So the fact that they're able to get a Baron, end up trading 1-for-1 overall as well, RNG are looking confident. They're just looking to continue this snowball against Mad.
Already got 2,500 gold out of this Red Bull Baron power play. How much more can they get? Armut is in a side lane, does not have the teleport. This tier 2 in the bottom lane will fall. RNG going to get 2 more towers to their names in just a couple of moments times. Gold lead ballooning once again, 6,000 ahead. And RNG are in just such a strong position to win this game. The only saving grace for Mad Lions is Armut, 4-2-2 on this Wukong, but even he is 1,000 gold behind Xiaohu as RNG continue to step forward into the faces of Mad Lions.
Yeah, Kazi is also just so much further behind. Like that gold gap, or that 3K, it's just absolutely crazy. Gala having an incredible performance. RNG successfully played through bot lane. We haven't really seen a huge amount of early game presence from Elyoya, and the difference is really starting to be felt right now. If Kazi can get a kill or two, perhaps get that shutdown off of Gala, there's a way for him to bounce back into this game, but it feels like that it has just been RNG's game from start to finish. Yes, it was a little bit of a slow start, but overall they took every single plate, they used the Twisted Fate ultimate well, they had good control over the Dragons, while they are 2-2 right now. They also had strong control over Rift Herald, and they got a very clean ban. I just don't want to see RNG now go for a poor 5v5 fight, because that's how they lose. The way that they've been controlling this game is by playing the waves well, by utilizing Cryin in the side lane, collapsing, perhaps using numbers advantage. I do not want to see them just... I know they are ahead, but that's how they throw that game. Yeah. Just trying to go for a 5v5. They almost did that earlier on in the day as well against Pentanet, and it is a risk that they need to be mindful of. I
mean, they almost did it versus C9 yesterday as well. They got aced, even though they were quite far ahead in the game. Way here, looking for the Steel Strike Breaker Smite.
Nice.
Will secure it. And the issue, I think, for Mad Lions is the further we get into this game, the more gold RNG are accruing, and the harder it is to find a good fight for yourselves. Because even if you catch out Cryin, you have to deal with Gala, who has 3 items and Infinity Edge complete on this Aphelios. Even if you catch out Xiaohu, there's still Wei and Ming there to follow up and get the CC down. Mad Lions are looking for picks, are looking to make catches, but RNG are advancing their vision line here and making it harder and harder for Mad Lions to see anything on the map. Armor jumps forward with the Nimbus strike, and here comes Wei. Armor does have the flash, gets away with the clone, the decoy used, and the Abyssal Voyage from Kaiser will bring Elyoya across as well. Destiny was popped by Cryin for the vision, I believe, as he just went straight to the side of the bottom lane.
An exchange of ultimates, of course Cryin using that ultimate as well, but RNG just keeping all 3 waves pushed in, want to maintain control over Mad's jungle. There are no real objectives for them to play for right now, so they're just trying to deny more jungle camps. Make sure that whenever Mad try to enter their half of the map, they feel stressed, they feel nervous. There's all this vision that they have to try and clear out. The RNG can then reset, restock, replenish, come back for the Drake, and know that Mad Lions is going to be on the back foot. Just very clean execution so far for RNG. The only blunder they've really had was that team fight up towards the top lane, which again initially looked very good, and then it just kind of ended in disaster. So beautiful stuff overall from RNG, really cementing themselves as right now the best team at this tournament. If they do win here, they'll go to 4-0, and they could be looking to end, I believe, well, there's 5 games each team play, and then you do the second round robin, so 10 total.
10 altogether.
Very close to that 5-0, obviously.
And it's great to see from RNG. You've got 3 players who haven't been on an international stage before.
Oh, yeah.
Wei, Cryin, and Gala have never played internationally. Of course, Xiaohu has literal years of experience, 7 different tournaments. Ming, of course, an MSI title back in 2018. But the question is, well, the question that I had was, could they continue their form that they had in the LPL on the international stage? And so far, they are doing that and more. They are looking stronger, in my opinion, than they did in the LPL. As Mad Lions look to try and make a Baron for Ocean Drake trade. Gala will secure the Ocean Mad Lions, stepping forward here. They're on Scuttlecrab Vision. Xiaohu almost got that Mega Gnar bar up. The Baron goes down to about 10,000. Mad Lions have to choose, do you stick or do you flee? Wei caught out with the Zap. Mad Lions will disengage, and they lose the Ocean Drake and don't get anything for it.
Xiaohu having Mega Gnar is probably what makes that play so scary for Mad. That's a good binding, though.
Shockwave used as well. Xiaohu down to about half HP, so Mega Deathwick not going to do too much. The Moonlight Vigil with the Infernum will take Armut down to half HP. However, RNG still looking for the hook. Armut, the one caught out. He's going to try and get away. The Cyclone Pop, the Ragnarok used as well. Cryin coming in from the side with the Destiny. Armut goes back in, uses the second part of the Cyclone. Kazi gobbled up by Kaiser to try and keep him alive in the middle of this fight, and RNG will turn their eyes straight towards the Baron. There is not a moment of breath.
I mean, they can, because so many ultimates have been used, and Gala's just going to melt through this objective. Elyoya can't get close.
Elyoya flashes in. Kazi trying to do what he can. Ming down to half HP. They're trying to turn it back around. Here comes Armor. Gala secures the Baron. Xiaohu going to be forced off towards the top side. Cryin trading onto Humanoid down towards the bottom. It's 2v1 as Humanoid continues to keep himself alive, just flashes away. But all of RNG escape with the Baron. and with an easy way now to close out this game.
Such a clean performance from RNG. That dance around the Baron was just so flawless in how they just kept baiting out these ultimates. They knew that Xiaohu had the TP to rejoin the fray as well. And once Mad had invested so much to trying to get that kill, that Baron suddenly became a lot less scary. This wombo combo that Mad has just doesn't exist anymore. And Elyoya was forced to flash over the wall just to get anywhere near the pit. So just really good awareness from RNG to recognize that with Gala, they know they can melt through that objective. They know that with Xiaohu there as well, they have enough tanky bodies, and just really great execution from RNG, now mounting a 9k gold lead over Mad.
I've got 2 minutes on this Baron buff as well to try and break open these inhibitor towers. You can see the lead, top lane 2,000, jungle 2,000, mid lane basically even, bot lane 3,000 and 2,000 down towards the support role as well. RNG very much in command of this game. They have been since minute 1 pretty much, totally in control. And Mad Lions have to find some sort of avenue, some sort of window of hope if they're ever going to stand a chance. But that window really felt like it was armored. Now he's 2 levels down on this Wukong against Xiaohu's Gnar.
He certainly is. That one pick in the side lane, I think, was also monumental in shifting over the control back to RNG. And I like RNG not grouping up. They're actually just playing through all 3 lanes right now. Very strong utilization of their composition. Create all this pressure. Split the Mad Lions up. Don't actually give them an opportunity to find that 5 versus 5. And now you can see Cryan in the top lane, slowly starting to chip away. And they're going to work towards hitting these towers over and over and over again. And just slowly breaking their way into the base. Here comes the Tahm Kench ultimate from Lafang.
Cryan doesn't have flash. He hasn't got it on his unsealed spellbook. The Cyclone coming in as well. Cryan will pop the stopwatch, and RNG are looking for inhibitors while this is happening. Cryan is down, but the inhibitor tower is also down in the mid lane and in the bottom lane. Xiaohu's going to look for this bot lane inhib. The rest of RNG have disengaged. Ming's going to have to try and get himself away, but he doesn't even have the flash. Mad to pick up 2 kills, and RNG have not taken an inhibitor. TP behind them. Humanoid has the shockwave. Xiaohu and Wei, the targets. Gala pops his stopwatch, but he's in the midst of 4 members of the Mad Lions, and that's another shutdown. Humanoid pops a stopwatch of his own, tries to keep himself alive as Xiaohu will take him out, building up that mega bar as well, and Mad Lions will disengage. Xiaohu can try and turn it back, but Mad Lions have held on.
Ends up being a 1 for 3, and Mad Lions do not lose their inhibitors. So for now, they hold the line. Humanoid's TP was a little overeager. He ends up getting punished for it. But okay, I like the proactiveness that we see from Mad there. The utilization of the Tahm Kench ultimate to set up a flank, collapse onto Cryan, who doesn't have the flash, and then try and get a couple more kills onto Kazi. His first kill of the game there, they see Gala out of position, and it was this TP from Humanoid. He thinks that the rest of RNG is going to run down, and he ends up, oh no, I'm in a very awkward situation right here. That CC will not work on the Olaf. Does end up using the Zhonya's, but too little, too late. Xiaohu gets himself another kill.
Elyoya picked up the kill there onto Gala as well. I wonder if they were trying to give it over to Kazi. You can see 3,900 damage there from the Jinx, but Gala, he's got himself a Guardian Angel. You've got to kill him twice if you're going to win this game, and Mad Lions have only been able to kill him twice in the last 32 minutes of game.
I will say, though, Kazi has the Infinity Edge completed, working towards his 4th item, has also closed the level gap a little bit, but Xiaohu still 2 levels up, Wei 2 levels up. Mid, surprisingly, Humanoid has had a very, well, I say surprisingly, he's obviously had a very strong game, but I'm surprised that he's managed to keep up with levels so much, sitting at 315 CS as right now. The TP behind, the back door from the Twisted Fate.
Oh, RNG is going to do it again, going in for the inhibitors. Cryan will be there. There's no minions, so he cannot take the Nexus Towers. Wade's going in. He's got a higher level smite, but Elyoya secures it. Cryan will look for those inhibitors. The Abyssal Voyage is taking Kazi back into the base. They're trying to chase out Kazi as Armor goes in with the Cyclone. Gala into the GA. He's going to come back, and Wei is next on the menu, but Gala, they just want this AD carry. They kill off the Aphelios. The inhibitors fall in bot and mid. Xiaohu's going to be able to jump his way away towards the top side as he tries to take down this inhibitor tower as well. The Ocean Drake was secured by Mad Lions. It's 3 apiece right now for both these teams, but Super Minions are pushing into the base of Mad.
Even though Mad are at an 8k deficit, they're doing their best to still win out in this game. They've actually been able to come out ahead on the kills, but their base is in tatters. This is what RNG does. You try to go for one thing, they're going to take something else. They take apart the base. Mad, though, still have a chance to turn this game around. They've been able to secure 3 Drakes. We're coming down to the Ocean Soul next. Mad are going to try and get some objectives back. And while no kills went on to Kazi, Humanoid was able to pick up a couple. Have a look at Wei in the mid lane, though. He has his eyes on a potential pick. And the question mark pings are coming down.
Armit's pushing forward. Wei and Ming are here. Crying has a gold card locked in. Armit's going to try and flash away. The Undertow's going to chase him down, and with the Destiny, Armit has been caught. Tries to survive with the Sterak's gauge, but he is stunned up, locked up and down. Crying will secure his second kill of the game, and now at a numbers advantage, RNG continue the offensive.
Yeah, they have to, I feel. Playing for top lane tower when they have the numbers, Gala is going to grab the red buff and then make his way back. Xiao has the TP as well, so if they want to, they can just commit a TP top and then start sieging onto this. Alternatively, the Baron spawns in 10 seconds. This could just be a free objective for them that Mad won't have the numbers to answer for, and with 2 inhibitors down, RNG can just let the minions do the work. Yes, they might be struggling in teamfights now, but they've laid the groundwork that they needed to be able to end this game regardless. And with this Baron, it feels like that it's just the final nail in the coffin. Mad, they put up a decent fight, but to me it feels difficult that they're going to be able to stop this final onslaught.
We've all seen Jinx Rockets steal Barons in the past. Not this time, as RNG able to secure it very safely. I will say Kazi's at 4 items on this AD carry. The Jinx, Lord Dominic's is complete. GA still on cooldown for Gala. Humanoid trying to sneak in here to the bottom lane, but Xiao Hu will check the bushes. He will make sure there is no one lying in wait, and Humanoid greets him with a command attack. Xiao Hu now with the Baron buff can push in as the rest of RNG are working their way towards mid. Crying also has TP. If he can get down towards this bottom side, he is level 18. Destiny well and truly online. Gala and Ming will work up towards top to get that wave pushing in, and RNG will try and sink all 3 minion waves. Still 2.5 minutes on both the mid and the top inhibitor. Alioya stepping forward, flash. Soul Shackle. Crying's going to flash out of that route though, and Alioya perhaps is going to get turned on. Undertow available. Alioya dodges to the side of it. Now, Mad Lions defending on 3 different fronts. Kazi, Kaiser, and Alioya with armor off towards the side, getting onto Gala. Crying and diving onto Xiao Hu. Humanoid there as well. He flashes away, but he is gone. Abyssal Voyage was cancelled. Humanoid down. And now Mad Lions have to win a 4v5. Kazi flashes away from the hook, but the damage is coming in from RNG, and Mad have too many places to look, too many places to defend, and RNG should close this one out. Mad Lions, a last-ditch chance, some sort of opportunity to find a fight. Armut goes in with the Cyclone, but Xiao Hu lands the Gnar, and the Cyclone is but a damp squib. Kazi trying to do what he can. Ming on the front line. Here comes Xiao Hu once again. Kazi down, Kaiser down, and RNG undefeated.
Just a very clean game overall from RNG. Yes, there were a couple of fights where they stumbled. There were a couple of small opportunities where Mad could have swung the game in their favor, but RNG just did not let go of the pressure. They found advantages bot, they moved their bot lane to mid, they kept looking for picks, they kept pushing in, they took tower after tower after tower, and you saw in that final siege, they did just let the minions do the work. The moment the Mad Lions tried to make a play, they cross-mapped it. The Twisted Fate ultimate onto the Orianna to get that initial pick, just really great patience, great utilization of the tools, and overall, just a fantastic performance from RNG.
What a performance, as you say, from RNG. Incredible stuff from Wei as